Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm here to do a video where I read like an INFP for a week. Maybe we'll see how long this lasts. For those who don't know, INFP is one of the Myers-Briggs personality types. You're gonna have to go. It is an intuitive feeling type, and it is what I am. So this video is gonna be me reading books that are recommended for people with my personality type. This was inspired by books and Lala's reading like an Aries. Is that what she is? Yeah, reading like an Aries for a week. I originally was going to do a reading like a Virgo video after I saw that because it made me really excited. I thought her video was really exciting and so fun to watch, and I wanted to do a video like it. Then I had an idea to do a different personality test because I haven't seen anyone do this before. I mostly see it when it comes to the Myers-Briggs personality types. Nobody's doing like reading the actual books. I've seen a few recommendations and I did use some of those recommendations for this video, and we're going to go through what I'm going to read or what I'm planning to read in this video. And I'm filming on the floor because I wanted to be comfortable, because this beginning of the video is going to be kind of long because I have to explain a bunch of things. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is the full name of it, has 16 personality types that they say that everyone falls into. Some people are more strongly one type than another. My history with the test is that, like, way in the olden days, every time I talk about me before the age of 18, I'm like, the olden days. But yeah, sometime in high school, I took the test, and I don't remember what I got when I took the test the first time in high school. But the second time I took it in high school, I think I took it twice in high school for some reason, I got the ISFP result, but I didn't save it. But I'm pretty sure that is what I got. The last record I have of taking the test after that time, I took it in 2017, and I got ISFP. And then I took it again in 2019, and I thought I got ISFP again, but I was wrong. I actually got INFP. So at some point between 2017 and 2019, my personality type changed, and I didn't even know it changed. Like, I took the test, but I forgot the result, and so this whole time I've been going around telling people I'm an ISFP when I'm not. So because of that, I took the test again right before filming this, like a couple days ago, and I got INFP again. So that is what I am right now in my life. The S switched to N, and now on their website, the 16 Personalities website, which I will link down below, they call this the mediator personality type. Some traits of INFPs tend to be that they're introverted, quiet, and reserved. They are loyal and devoted and sensitive to feelings, and they value close relationships and are good at seeing the big picture. For full disclosure, I feel like this is not my category. I don't know what my personality type is, but I'm not sure this is it. But I've taken the test twice now and gotten this, so it's what fits. So this is the closest to what I am, but I don't fully feel like this. And the reasons why have mostly to do with the negative traits, because I don't feel like those traits really fall into me, and also some of the positive traits, I guess. But some of the more negative traits that INFPs tend to have are that they can be overly idealistic, and that's just not me at all. If anything, in the past, a lot of my friends have described me as a pessimist. On YouTube, I think I do come across as more optimistic, just because I am working on it, because it's not always great to always be looking at the bad side of. Most people in my life would not call me overly idealistic, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Tends to take everything personally. That is something that can happen with me. But difficult to get to know is also something that I think can happen with me. Sometimes loses sight of the little things, and also is good at seeing the big picture, or just also not really me, I think. If anything, I think I focus more on the little things. Overlooks details is also not really me. But yeah, that's a little overview of the INFP personality type. And so doing all this research into it, I also looked for guides for books that people recommended for my personality type, for other personality types. There are like some recommendations, like booktube videos, and I'm gonna mention one soon, and some articles, but there are really not as many as if I were looking up for Virgos or anything like that. So this was kind of hard to narrow down my TBR, but I'm just gonna like briefly go through like things that I've seen. So first, the book genres that people tend to recommend. There was no seemingly like one genre that everyone recommended, except for a lot of people, and the books that I saw recommended were fantasy. It seems like because INFPs are regarded as so idealistic, fantasy books that tend to have like a sweeter focus, if that makes any sense whatsoever, are recommended to them the most often. I also saw romance recommended, poetry recommended, and this Bustle article that I'm looking at recommends magical realism, which is one of my favorite genres. So maybe there is something to it, who knows? Magical realism does like combine a lot of things. It's like fantasy. It's usually written in more of a poetic, flowery style. So that does make sense. Also, because we are sensitive, that's part of the reason poetry seems to be recommended, because poetry is kind of the most emotional genre just by the nature of it. And so a lot of the books that were on these lists I have actually already read, and I did see some trends in them. So some books that I have already read that kept coming up were The Little Prince and Anne of Green Gables, which both feature kind of idealistic protagonists, so I assume they were recommended because the main characters seem to be INFPs. Stardust, which I don't quite remember, but I remember it having this ethereal feel to it. Charlotte's Web, which once again having an idealistic protagonist. I had 3 books that did not really make sense to me. Fahrenheit 451 and 1984 were both recommended multiple times in the list that I saw. And I guess like what those 2 books have in common is that they're dystopian, but they seem to be more on the depressing side of things, so I'm not really sure where that comes from. Every list I've seen has mentioned the Chronicles of Narnia. I also saw The Lord of the Rings mentioned a couple of times. I'm not reading The Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry to disappoint. I just have no interest in that. But again, these are both expansive fantasy series that really carry you into another world, and I assume that has something to do with the idealistic nature that INFPs are supposed to have. And I had a lot of fun researching this, and I just wanted to share some of my findings about INFPs. So based on everything that I've seen, I also don't read like an INFP. My favorite genre is contemporary. I do, like I said, enjoy magical realism. So that is something. I hardly read any poetry. Fantasy is my second most read genre, but I wouldn't categorize it as a favorite. But I do read a lot of fantasy, so maybe there's something to that. So this week I'm going to be trying to read some books that have been recommended that I could get my hands on. So the first book that I'm going to be trying to be reading that was recommended to INFPs is Persuasion by Jane Austen. Next, I'm going to be trying to read The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I don't know what the synopsis of this book is, but I know it's a fantasy story, so I assume that's why it was recommended. This book specifically was recommended by Mel, the Raven Girl. She is a booktuber who did a booktube video recommending books specifically for INFPs because we share a personality type. And she recommended this because, like I mentioned earlier, INFPs are known for their loyalty and how much they care for their friends, and apparently this book exhibits that well. So I'm looking forward to reading that, and this new cover is way better than the old cover. Next, I will be reading The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This is Rupi Kaur's second poetry novel. I read her first one, Milk and Honey, years ago, and I personally really liked it. I know a lot of people have feelings about insta poetry and all these things, but I wanted to read it. This book specifically I didn't see on any list, but like I said, a genre that was recommended was poetry, and I've been meaning to get to this for a while, so I ordered it because I wanted to own it also. And it's coming on Thursday, so I don't have it to show it right now, but when I read it, obviously I will show it. The Queen's Assassin by Melissa De La Cruz. This was not recommended by anyone, but I need to read this for my owls, and it is fantasy, and I think it is a romance heavy fantasy, which is another genre that was recommended for INFPs. And so I'll be taking that in. So those are all the books on my TBR. Hello, I've been the world's worst vlogger. I've read 2 of the books that I planned to read during this video, and I've also kind of changed the scope of this video. So I was just filming another sit down video, and I was like, I should update that vlog that I said I was going to do literally over a week ago. So far, I finished 2 books for this video, and I haven't talked about them. I literally finished them. I didn't even tell you I started them. So yeah, let's talk about them. So the first book that I did finish, and both of these books I did talk about in my April wrap up if you're interested in that. But yeah, so the first book that I did finish was The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Carr. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do think it fit the INFP theme, I guess, in the sense that this book specifically wasn't recommended for INFPs, but poetry in general was. And I do think the poetry evoked the feeling of being an INFP. The 16 personalities test suggests that INFPs tend to like look for the best even in the worst situations. And I think this book did that just by, you know, virtue of existing. Part of this book is about a hard breakup and everything. And obviously the good thing that came out of that was, you know, this book. So I do see that in here. And if you don't know, this is Ruby Carr's second collection of poetry. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed her first collection, Milk and Honey. And if you enjoyed that, I think you'll enjoy this. If you didn't enjoy that, I don't think you'll enjoy this. The Queen's Assassin by Melissa De La Cruz. This is the second book that I read for this vlog and, you know, for life. I also read it for the owls, which is kind of the primary reason that I put it in this video, so I could finish it for the owls and also have it work for multiple videos. But yeah, that was probably a mistake because this ended up not really working as an INFP book, in my opinion. I picked it because it was fantasy, and it says that because INFPs are idealists, another genre that was suggested were fantasies, because they're like in a different world and things, but this was not like an idealist fantasy world, and neither of the characters really evoked INFP for me. Both of them were like kind of shallow and I guess kind of selfish, which it feels very not INFP, so it didn't work in that regard either. And yeah, and I also didn't like this book. I gave it 2.5 stars, which I did talk about in my April wrap-up. Normally I refer to my wrap-ups to my vlogs, but since this is being filmed after the wrap-up, now I'm referring people to the wrap-up in the vlog. Isn't that weird? But yeah, I didn't like this. It was very generic, very annoying. The twist at the end bothered me the most because it was dumb. And yeah, so it being dumb was also not very INFP of it. So, and I'm currently reading a third book. I'm currently reading The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson, which was a book that was specifically suggested as an INFP book by a YouTuber whose name I forgot, but their name is on the screen right now. So far, I'm enjoying the book. Basically, it's about the princess of a kingdom. The name of the kingdom I forgot, but she has 2 things going on with her. She is the bearer of the Godstone, which in this world means that she's been chosen by God to do something like very important, but they don't know what it is yet. And as the princess, she has also been married off to the king of a different kingdom to forge an alliance between the 2 kingdoms. And when she gets to the new kingdom, she finds out that actually the king hasn't told anyone that he was looking for a queen. And so nobody knows that he married her. And so we're dealing with that. And then like a whole lot of other stuff happened. That's really the tip of the iceberg, what I just said. This is spoiler free. But as an INFP book, I'm not really seeing it. I guess I'm currently 70% of the way through, and this was recommended because of the loyalty that the main character exhibits, but it doesn't feel like an INFP type of loyalty. But I am looking at the 16 personalities page, and it does say, while they may be perceived as calm, reserved, or even shy, mediators, which are what INFPs are called, have an inner flame and passion that can truly shine. So I do kind of see that. So I am rethinking what I just said, and I do kind of see that in this character. So maybe it does work as an INFP book. Anyway, I'm going to be finishing it hopefully today, maybe very soon. It's Friday, so I have the whole weekend to read. I would actually like to wrap this video up by Sunday, so we'll see about that. But yeah, I am like generally really enjoying The Girl of Fire and Thorns. I think it's really interesting. And the new cover is really great, in case you're wondering. I kind of want to buy a physical copy. I don't know. We'll see. I'm here to end the vlog and also go over the last book that I read for this reading like an INFP vlog, reading INFP books. I don't know what I'm going to call this yet. But yeah, I read books for INFPs, or what I thought were for INFPs. And that was what this vlog was, in case you forgot the whole time you were watching it. I don't know. But yeah, I ended up reading 3 books. I want to go over the last book that I just finished with you guys, which was The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I really like this book. I gave it 3.5 stars. I felt like this book was such a journey. It honestly felt really long, but not in a bad way. I just felt like I was taken on a journey. According to Goodreads, it's only 423 pages, but I listened to the audiobook. I don't remember how long the audiobook is, because I'm a bad reviewer. But yeah, it did feel long, but in a good way, because I felt like I was like really just being taken on a journey. We follow the main character, her name is Elisa, as she grows so much throughout the story. She starts off the book as very meek and not really confident in herself, and we watch her as she like learns to have confidence and everything like that. So I really enjoyed it. The fantasy elements were very interesting to me. Basically, the magic system, if you need a really well explained magic system, this is not it for you. I guess it could be argued that the magic system is just not that good, but to me, I didn't mind it so much, and I expect that we'll learn more about it as the series goes on, because this is a trilogy, and the story deals a lot with religion, which was really unexpected, but I thought it was really interesting because I feel like we don't have such heavy religious themes so much in YA fantasy. Like, not religious themes, but like there's a religion that, and the main character is praying a lot because, you know, she's considered like a person from God, like a person chosen by God. So the main character prays a lot, and that's included in the story a lot. She talks to priests and things like that, and like really considers them. Like, obviously lots of books have religious themes, but I haven't seen it like so overt, which I thought was really interesting. If you're not into religion at all, you might not like that. I'm pretty sure this is based on Christianity, and this also takes place in a desert for most of the book. So yeah, I thought all of that was very interesting, and I really enjoyed reading the story. There is one thing, there is a trigger warning for fat phobia, because the main character is fat, and I don't think it is dealt with that well. I did write about it on Goodreads, but if that is triggering to you, the main character does lose weight. The like other characters obviously notice that she's fat, and it's not, I don't think, dealt with in the best way. Yeah, I do talk about that more in my review, and other reviews talk about it as well. So if that will be triggering to you, I would also say proceed with caution, just because of that. But yeah, otherwise, as a book, I enjoyed it. As an INFP book, I think that this does succeed. This was recommended basically as a book where the main character is an INFP, and that's how I see that this is an INFP book. It's not really a book, I think, meant for INFPs, just because, like I said, the magic system is not very detailed. It doesn't really have the whimsical nature that I'm seeing in a lot of the other fantasy books that were recommended and everything, but the main character does seem to display a lot of the INFP characteristics, in my opinion. She is loyal and devoted. She's loyal to God, I think, and devoted to God, in my opinion. And she's loyal to certain characters who have been with her for a long time and she cares for a lot. And that also goes with caring and interested in others. She does tend to take everything personally, especially towards the beginning of the book when she's less confident. You can see how she really views everything not as a slight against her, but just is about her. So I do see how she exemplifies some traits, but she doesn't exemplify other traits. Like, she doesn't overlook details. One of the things that the main character does is the mastermind for this really elaborate plan, and that's not something you can overlook details with, and she didn't. But overall, I can see how the main character could be categorized as an INFP. That is my review of The Girl in Fire of Thorns for this vlog, and also how I viewed it as an INFP book. The other two books that I read during this vlog were The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This I view also as an INFP book. This doesn't have a main character because it's poetry, but I think overall as a book for INFPs, I think it does well because it does have that whimsical, nice writing nature to it. It does have that. This, I imagine, would cater to the sensitive to feelings part of INFPs, looking at relationships and everything. I would recommend this as a book for INFPs. And this I would not recommend at all because I didn't like it and it was bad, but also not as a book for INFPs. This was my test book, I guess, because I thought maybe it would fit, but it doesn't. The main characters, neither of them I would view as INFPs, and the book itself doesn't seem to really cater to the traits of INFPs for an INFP to enjoy it. Also, it was bad. That's everything I wanted to say in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. What Myers-Briggs personality type are you? Leave it in the comments down below. I will see you in my next video. Bye!